Welcome back, everyone. My name is Alex Anthony, and you're watching Break the Deck Episode 2. I'm going to jump to online. I know I was going to do the Pikachu deck next. That was my plan even yesterday, but then shout out to the homie Ozzy. Him and I have been playing a little bit online, been talking a little bit about the game. He wanted to learn, I wanted to teach, and here we are. So he's been playing some theme deck. You know, he's got his pretty good grips, you know, with the game itself, and he's been playing a few decks and playing pretty good. So I taught him a different deck, and then he, you know, wanted to get a little better at it. So I told him to record himself playing, send me the footage, and I will critique it and, you know, learn from there. So when he did, he just sent me his first video last night, and I just started to watch it today, and I was like, we got some stuff to work on. So what I thought I'd do is do a whole episode. I'm gonna break this deck down. You know, we did that kind of like once, him and I, but I want to do it again. You know, give him a little more footage that he can study, and give you folks some details on a really solid, underutilized theme deck if you all want to play in the theme deck format. So the best theme decks typically are Relentless Flame, Soaring Storm, the Charizard deck from Vivid Voltage. I've had a lot of success with Galarian Darmanitan. I've seen a lot of other decks do really, really well. The deck that you get to start off is awful. It's very, very hard to win with that. So what I suggested playing was Laser Focus. It's a Sun and Moon deck, which are still, you know, allowed because theme decks are balanced very well. And it's just different from a lot of the other decks. A lot of the other decks revolve around stage 1, stage 2 is really like they get fully bulked up and fully powered up. So I thought that a nice basic / stage 1 only deck is really cool, and I wanted to go over everything with that's in here. So starting off with the energy cards, we have the 18 basic that you usually have, Psychic, of course, for this deck, and then we have 2 weakness guard energy. Now this is really cool because you don't get a lot of special energy in theme deck. I think there are maybe a couple of capture energy in a deck or 2 here and there, but for the most part it's just basic energy. So weakness card provides colorless energy, and the Pokemon this card is attached to has no weakness, which is really nice because there are a few psychic Pokemon running around out there that you have a psychic, you have the weakness to, with Necrozma. And your Malamar, Inkay, it's usually used for Necrozma, and it'll power up Necrozma in an interesting way, but you can also use it in different ways too. We will talk about that a little bit later. When we're getting through some of the meta, especially when we're talking about the matchup that Ozzy has. So for our trainer cards, the trainer cards are actually, let's go through the Pokemon first and then the trainer, because the trainer cards are actually a little bit, I think that if I explain the Pokemon first, the trainer cards will make more sense. So you've got Audino, which is a great little card to have in the active spot. I didn't even notice, I've been playing this card for so long, I never noticed the heart on its foot. That's really cute. The hearing ability, once during your turn, if this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, you may draw a card. And in the theme deck format, drawing 2 cards when your opponent is only drawing 1 card per turn is really, really nice. And then sometimes, not usually, we have the Drain Slap attack, heal 30 damage from this Pokemon. And it's just, sometimes it's nice to, I would say I use this attack maybe like once every 10-15 games, but it's just nice to have a little attacker out there to maybe put on some tick damage, because sometimes you need to do a 2-hit attack, a 2-hit knockout, because this deck doesn't really get a lot of big 1-hit knockouts. Its main advantage / strength is that it can set up very quickly, and it can attack very quickly for medium numbers, which other decks take a little bit longer to get to. So depending on how your opponent sets up, you can win a lot of games just by winning quick. So I would say this is one of the decks that will take the least amount of turns to win a game. In theme deck though, you're usually going to have to play about 10, 12, you know, plus turns to actually get through the game. So next we have Mesprit. Mesprit is by far the weakest Pokemon in this deck. It's one card that I honestly would recommend never using if you can get away with not using it. So personally, I think Mesprit is it's just nothing. It really is. Like, it's a last-ditch effort. If you have absolutely nothing in play, you got to go with the Mesprit. If you have literally no options, you got to go with the first contact. But it's super low HP, got no attack. Once you put it out there, it's out there. So it's a Pokemon that's taking up space on the bench. That is its absolute biggest weakness, is that it will be taking up a bench space for, after you use the first contact attack, it has next to no use. Its next best usage is just being a sacrificial Pokemon. Like, it's like, this is gonna get knocked out because I need to power up something else, I need to delay this and that. and you can do that with a lot of other things. So you don't need to be doing that with a Mesprit. The Mesprit is usually going to be, you don't want to see it out there. Tauros is a pretty good starter. You can get the Call for Family attack out there. Search your deck for 1 basic Pokemon. Mesprit is 3, but the 1 colorless and then 1 basic, I guess colorless doesn't matter because we only use the 1 type. But the fact that if you put on a second energy, you can now hit for 60 and you've got 110 HP is so much better than what Mesprit can do. So I would always go for a Tauros over a Mesprit. Inkay, we're getting to the engine now. Inkay has a little attack here. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep, which is really a 50-50% chance if it will actually do anything, and it can honestly be even less because if they have a switching card, then it makes no difference. So this for me, I've won one theme deck game. I remember I was able to deck my opponent out because they had no switching cards, and I was able to get a sleep off 3 turns in a row. I flipped heads 3 turns in a row, and that's what I needed for them to deck out, and it happened. It was one of my best memory wins, even to date, because the theme deck format is so hard to get those like really crucial come from behind wins. And your opponent's active Pokemon asleep, that's all it's got. But the best part about Inkay is that it evolves into Malamar. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may attach a Psychic Energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. That's awesome. This is the entire engine of the deck. This is how, like, so with Audino, we can draw 2 cards per turn when our opponent is drawing 1. And with Malamar, we can attach 2 energy per turn when our opponent is only attaching 1 on average. So that's really awesome. It's especially awesome that it's just a stage 1 to get set up. So you can be attaching by, in theory, if you go first, you get 2 Inkay on the bench, 2 Malamar evolve the turn after that. It takes a lot to get that, trust me, but in theory, you could be attaching 3 energy per turn by turn 2. To discard the energy, you can retreat. There are Pokemon in this deck that discard energy with their attack, so it is a very nice cycle. And of course, Pokemon just get knocked out. So you're going to get energy in the discard, trust me. Dedenne. Dedenne is the 2nd weakest Pokemon in the deck. If Mesprit is by far the worst, Dedenne is Dedenne, I would say, is by far the 2nd worst. And then after those 2, the whole deck is actually really solid. But Dedenne does have a little bit more utility. A, 10 more HP does go a long way. B, it's not weak to Psychic. It's weak to Metal, which there's not a ton of Metal floating around in theme deck, so that's okay. And then C, the return attack allows you to draw until you have 6 cards in your hand, which can be a big benefit / bail you out. I think that the Dedenne overall just works a little bit nicer in most situations, but it is definitely the clear 2nd place Pokemon in my opinion. Young Goose. I love Young Goose. It has a 30 attack, 70 HP. That's not why I love the Young Goose. I love it because of the Gumshoos. The same energy cost. 1 retreat for both Pokemon, gets up to 100 HP, which is a little lackluster for show, but the 90 hit. That 90 hit is really good. That's really, really good. So this whole text here, if your opponent's active Pokemon is Pokemon GI, that doesn't count at all. In the theme deck, there are none of that, so doesn't matter. Just focus on the 90. That's fantastic because turn 3, going first, I have definitely won games on my 2nd turn, the 3rd turn of the game, because my opponent only had 1 active Pokemon. It did not have above 90 HP, and I was able to get the Young Goose Gumshoe out, 2 energy, 2 turns, boom, game over. So Gumshoes is a really nice, I call it like a rush down kind of card. Like if you can get it out early and you can be hitting 90, then it can be really too much for an opponent to come back from. So that's one reason why I really like this deck. Type Null. Type Null is a very weird name. I've never seen this Pokemon before I started playing Theme, and it's just, someone's got to explain this thing to me. Like, are there type others? Or is there type like this, type that? So I just like the name. It's very cool. Very odd looking Pokemon. It almost looks like a Frankenstein. Like they put this thing together through just like they found a fin from a random, Pokemon. They found like some darkness hooves hanging around. They found a helmet with an axe on it. They found some random claws. Very interesting, creepy looking Pokemon, but I do really love it. Mainly because of its evolution. But notice that it has 100 HP right off the bat, whereas young Goose has to evolve into Gumshoes to get to the 100 HP. We've got the 100 HP right off the bat. You can hit for 1 energy, 20, which is great, and then for 2 energy, flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 30 more damage. So 60 damage potentially for 2 energy. On average, say it does 45, you know, and we don't ever really have the 5, but you're flipping for that second 30, which you'll get 50% of the time for the extra 15 damage on average. So when that does come through, it can be very, very nice. But the Silvally with the Avenging Heart Attack, you don't really use this attack too often. When you do it, when it does come through, it's very nice. This attack does 50 more damage for each prize card your opponent took on their last turn. So say they knock out like 2 Pokemon, which is possible. There are times in this theme deck where your opponent will knock out 2 Pokemon because there are things that do bench damage. So you could be doing 130 for the 2 energy. Usually though, you will be restricted to a max of 120. I know, poor you. For 3 energy, discard an energy from this Pokemon. And the reason why this discard energy isn't that bad is because of the Malamar ability. If you can get that set up, and even if you don't have it set up, if you just attach normal, straight up 1 per turn, and then you hit for 120, if you don't have the Malamar set up, it's usually pretty early game, and they're probably not that set up as well, and you can just keep attaching for turn until you get the Malamar set up. So Silvally is definitely the second best hitter, your second biggest attacker in this deck. The biggest attacker, I'm assuming it's up next, is Necrozma. So this is the Necrozma theme deck, so naturally Necrozma would be the heaviest hitter with a lackluster 130 HP. Silvally only has 130 HP as well, so this is it, folks. This is what our deck caps out at. It's not the tanky deck, it is the options deck, I would call it. You got a little more options with this deck and how you want to attack and this and that, but in the end of the day, you only got 130 HP. So 2 energy barrier attack. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. This thing can come in clutch. This can win games, this barrier attack. It can make it so that your opponent can't one-shot your Necrozma and it is forced to do a 2-shot, and sometimes that extra turn is the difference maker. But the real, true power-up of this deck is Special Laser. If this Pokemon has any special energy attached to it, weakness guard energy, this attack does 60 more damage. So, the reason why this is so awesome is because Necrozma is a basic, and you are allowed to attach 1 energy per turn, and because this deck has 2 Malamar. So in an ideal situation, you can pull the, what I like to call the Necrozma Sneak Attack. You can have a Pokemon in the active, maybe with Free Retreat, we'll get to that later with one of the item cards, and from having nothing on the bench, you can bench Necrozma. You can attach weakness guard energy. If you have the 2 Malamar in play, you can attach 2 energy, 1 with each, and then you can switch into Necrozma. So you can go from having 0 power on the bench to a fully powered 160 HP hitting Necrozma, which to me is just awesome. That is just fantastic. I really like how your opponent can just feel safe, and then out of nowhere you can hit them with that. And then even if you don't have the special energy, if you just have a regular energy, you can still come at them with the 100 attack, because you can do all of that, you know, 3 energy, 100 damage, boom, boom, boom. It can be pretty devastating. Although I will say, you pretty much, like, the ideal scenario is to get that weakness guard energy on Necrozma twofold. A, you want to be hitting for that 160, not the 100, and B, if you are up against a psychic type, which this is weak to, you do not want to be losing to some weak hits. You know, you put that weakness guard energy on, now you are no weakness Pokemon, which is fantastic. So those are the Pokemon you get to, 1 of each, 1 hollow, 1 non-hollow. And, you know, it's just for aesthetics purposes. But the Pokemon I really, really enjoy, and then the trainer cards just make this whole deck work. So Mysterious Treasure. This card I usually try to use in one specific way. To maximize this card, I would say you usually either have Inkay or Malamar in hand, or you have another card that will allow you to find Inkay, and then you will use the Mysterious Treasure to discard either a Psychic Energy to power up your Malamar, or something in your hand that you don't want, like say a Mesprit or a Dedenne. Those are usually going to be the 3 cards that I look to discard. Energy card, never the weakness card, obviously. The basic energies, Dedenne or Mesprit. However, there are going to be times when, say, you do have Malamar and Inkay already up, or you are in a real desperation situation and you can use this Mysterious Treasure to find a Necrozma. You know, you have the weakness guard energy in hand and you just kind of need to find it to get hitting, so you can use this in multiple ways. You do get 2 per deck. Switching card. Let me see how many you get, because in mine I have 13. but in this we get one. You get one switch. So switch with your active Pokemon, bench Pokemon. That is a pretty standard attack. I'm thinking standard card. You would use this if you ever don't want to have to use a retreat or this or that. Pretty basic. Bug Catcher, draw 2 cards, flip a coin, if head, draw 2 more cards. I think we talked about this in Break the Deck episode 1, but it's a very basic draw 3 on average, because you will 50% on average, you know, half the time you get 2 cards, half the time you get 4, so that averages out to 3 cards, just like Hop. So I like to look at Bug Catcher and Hop in the exact same way. Cynthia is the card that makes this deck move. Basically because the only thing that can stop this deck is if the hand gets clogged or if you can't get churning. So if you have a Cynthia in hand, 2 in the deck, you are allowed to shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 6 cards. There's one more card in this deck that allows you to do something similar, and those cards are truly lifesavers in certain games. And you will only want to use this card. I've mentioned this last time, but if you didn't see Break the Deck episode 1, A, go watch it, but B, if you have a card like Cynthia that shuffles your hand into your deck, and you have cards like How and Bug Catcher, I think I called them Hot before, How and Bug Catcher, then you will want to use them first, because maybe you will draw into what you're looking for, and you don't need to use the Cynthia. But if you have Cynthia in hand, and then you have these as well, and you shuffle them away, you may draw into 6 cards you don't want, and then you're kind of really stuck. So you want to maximize your options as you go. Lily is by far the weakest trainer card / supporter card in this deck. Draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. If it's your first turn, draw 8 cards. And if it's your first turn, draw cards until you have 8 cards in your hand. So that doesn't mean if it's your first turn going first, because you can't play a supporter card. So only on your first turn going second are you allowed to play this. And I think they don't specify that, because I want to say in Sun and Moon you could play a supporter card your first turn. I'm pretty sure that only changed in Sword and Shield. So beautiful looking card, nice character, nice rainbow, but you just are gonna have more. You're gonna have so many cards in your hand very often that you're not gonna be drawing very much with this card. It can be a random lifesaver like Dedenne, you know, but it gets about as much use as Dedenne. I would say it's very situational, and because it's a supporter card, you can only play 1 per turn. You're going to want to be playing every other supporter card usually instead of this one. Pokemon Fan Club can be really cool. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them, put them in your hand, then shuffle your deck. That can be amazing for getting an Inkay out, a Tauros, a Necrozma, Silvally, or Gumshoes. Especially if you have the second evolution, you can't find the basic. It can be a really clutch card. Although if you get everything in play, this card goes to just useless. It's like this is an early game card. There's like mid game cards, late game cards, early game cards. Lily, early game card if anything. Pokemon Fan Club, usually early game card. Cynthia, more mid to late game, because that's by the time your hand gets really big, clogged up, this and that. Tate and Liza, a combination of 2 cards we've seen before. You get to either choose one, shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards, so 1 less of Cynthia, but they give you the 1 less because you also could switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon if you so choose. You get 1 of these per deck, which is really nice that you just have that option. A dual usage card. It's very nice to have, and I've never been like, oh no, Tate and Liza, because you're almost always going to want to have one of those 2 options, and it's very helpful. Final trainer card, U-turn board. The retreat cost of this Pokemon card is attached. The retreat cost of the Pokemon this card is attached to is 1 colorless less. If this card is discarded from play, put it into your hand instead of the discard pile, which is the true awesome U-turn aspect of it. So it's a U-turn board because it helps you retreat a little bit easier, but the real U-turn is that it doesn't go to the discard, it goes right to your hand. You can then just attach it to another Pokemon, especially if it's going to get knocked out. It doesn't matter, it can go right back to your hand. So as soon as you get this in your hand, for the rest of the game, one of your Pokemon will have 1 colorless less. It's really nice to put this. Now we're going to get into the whole mix of it. Can I open all of the... No, I have to keep clicking between. The main card you're going to put that U-turn board on is going to be this Audino. You will put it on. It has 1 retreat, colorless. So if you put that on, it is now a free retreat Pokemon. If you can get an Audino with a U-turn board on your bench, you're kind of what I like to call golden for the rest of the game in terms of drawability. Because anytime a Pokemon gets knocked out, what you will then do is bring up your Audino, you will use the hearing ability to start your turn, or maybe you want to use a Cynthia or something and you will use it after your turn. Because if you're ever going to use your hearing ability, you always want to use it before your turn. If you're going to draw, if you're not going to shuffle your hand, you can use it before. If you are going to shuffle your hand, use it after, because Cynthia gives you 6 cards, Tate and Liza gives you 5, and then the hearing ability will add a +1 on top of that, where if you use it beforehand, you are going to shuffle your +1 into the deck. So you want to be maximizing how many cards you have in your hand at all times. So this is a really, really awesome utility kind of combo. As you can see, you know, the weakness guard energy goes with Necrozma. The U-turn board kind of goes with Audino. You can use it, however, with anything, really. You know, you wouldn't want to put it on something like this, you know, because you don't really want to have that in play, but say you need to have a free retreat for your Tauros, because sometimes you're going to want to attack, retreat, attack again. Very nice to have it on the Tauros, so you don't need to discard for the 2 energy. Say sometimes you need to retreat your Necrozma. It has a 2 energy retreat. Bring it back down to 1. Less to power up. Same thing with any of these. So volley, type Null, Gumshoes, you guys get the point. So I really like that trainer card. And yeah, overall, I've given you folks most of a framework. I mean, from this point forward, to get into the nuances of it, we would have to get into specific matchups, we'd have to get into specific situations, of which there are not infinite, but there are an extremely large number. So I think the best way to go from here would be to jump into Ozzy's video, and we will break down every play that he makes, what I think I would do. I will pause, I will go back, and yeah, so let's full screen this and watch some play-by-play. So he's up against the Groudon deck. And if you folks aren't familiar with the Groudon deck, it's got some fighting types, it's got some, let's just play it from, say, his perspective. I'm not going to go over it all, because sometimes when you're playing a deck you don't exactly know, you haven't, you know, done all the studying, you know, of every single deck out there. So let's just play it from more of like a, I don't know how to word it, a real life perspective, because you don't really have, not everyone has time to study every card from every single theme deck before you go play theme to know exactly what you're going to be up against when you play a, you know, any given opponent. That'd be studying like a couple thousand cards, I guess. I'm guessing. So right off the bat, okay, we've got a pretty decent starting hand, honestly. The switching card is nice because this means we can put something out in the active that we may not necessarily want to keep in the active. So my initial game plan when I see this hand is, so the main thing to consider, I'm saying this now because Ozzy makes a mistake to start off, is bench space. So we mentioned it earlier when talking about Mesprit. Mesprit is a desperation scenario Pokemon. We are not in a desperation situation. So for me, Mesprit is not playable at this moment. It's just kind of useless. It would take up too much space later on. Like, sure, you've only got 3 Pokemon right now, but this deck is a high bench deck. Like, you really need the bench to be full of utility, to be fully churning, because we don't have that one big heavy hitter in a Charizard or a Dragonite. We need to be spreading it out and getting our troops ready to do battle. So with that, we only have 6 spots total for our Pokemon. We need to utilize each one perfectly. If you have 2 decent Pokemon in play like we do, and the Bug Catcher to draw, you know, 2 to 4 cards, just even consider it the 2 cards on our first drawing. By the time we get to our first turn, because our opponent chose to go first, we will be able to draw for turn, and we'll be able to use our Bug Catcher. So off the bat, we're going to get 3 more cards. So right now, what is the card I want to lead is Tauros, 100%. We get to attack first turn, so that means we can use Call for Family. Then we are likely to not get 1 hit knocked out by whatever they do. They're going to be able to put 2 energy on. I don't think anything in Theme Deck can do. Maybe Apom can do 120. It has a discard 2 cards attack, and you can do 120 damage. That's pretty busted. But you can deck yourself out pretty easily doing that attack, and slash get your hand really low and not playable. So what I would focus on at this exact moment is get Tauros out, do a Call for Family first turn, put Necrozma on the bench because there's no disadvantage to that, and then we're gonna Bug Catcher our first turn. Actually, we don't even need to bench the Necrozma yet, because we don't have our weakness guard energy. So right now, actually, the only thing that I would do is bench the Tauros. However, the Groudon deck does have fighting types, and our Tauros is weak to fighting types, so that is a consideration as well. I still think, okay, so what I would do then is I would bench the Necrozma because of that. Without fighting type on the other side of the field, I would not even bench the Necrozma. I would just lead the Tauros, Call for Family for turn 1. When I Call for Family, that's going to depend on what we get with the Bug Catcher. Say we get no Pokemon whatsoever. My next Call for Family would probably be an Audino, because then I would like to start using my hearing ability to start churning more cards, because our hand really isn't that great at that point. Say we just get 2 more energy cards. I've had my hand filled up with just all energy before. It can definitely happen. So let's just assume we get nothing. And then if we do get, say, an evolution, say we get a Silvally or a Gumshoes, I'm going to call for Family the Basic. Say we don't get, say we get a Malamar, I'm going to call for Family the Inkay. Say we get a Mysterious Treasure, I'm going to call for Family the Inkay. So depending on what we get is depending on what we'll call for family, but that's my basic plan right now. So I would go Tauros in the active, then I would bench Necrozma now because we are up against a fighting type deck, and turn 2 we could potentially get knocked out. I would then attach basic energy to Tauros, turn 1, use Bug Catcher, see what we get, and go from there. Ozzy decides to go with the Mesprit, and I can see why he's going for it. He looks at the first attack, the first contact. I'm going to get my 3 Pokemon, I'm going to fill my bench up, and I'm going to get rolling. And for me, that's just not the play, because our Pokemon has 60 HP, very weak, it can't attack, that's its only benefit, and we already have an attack that helps us fill up our bench. So, and look at that, our opponent took a mulligan, so we are not even limited to 3 cards, we get 4 cards our first turn, because we got the mulligan, the draw for turn, and the Bug Catcher, and that's 4 cards minimum. If we flip heads, we get 6 cards. I'm only thinking worst case scenario. So, we can always then use our switch cards to say switch into Necrozma or this or that, if we had gone that way. So I would have done all of this just, okay, so let's see what we get for the Bug Catcher. Cool, so off of this, we get this Bug Catcher, so we get the Audino. I would have, say we had, you know, the Tauros, we got the Audino and the Pokemon Fan Club. So that's beautiful, beautiful. So Audino, if you look at Pokemon Fan Club plus Tauros, that's literally the exact same benefit we get off Mesprit. So by benching Mesprit, we've already wasted an energy attachment to a Pokemon that we don't want to have the energy attached to, and we've now we're not going to get full use out of your Pokemon Fan Club, because if you use this attack, this first contact, to fill up your bench, now the Pokemon Fan Club is useless. It's a hand clogging card. So, because now if you wanted to do something like a Lily, draw 6, you're not going to be able to, because A, you can't use your supporter, and if you have extra cards in your hand, it's just, and I think when I see, I think Ozzy's going to do this attack, and I think he's going to fill up his entire bench, even though he has an Audino in hand. So, we got multiple mistakes going right now. So, say you're in this exact situation. Say you mistakenly bench the Mesprit, and you accidentally put the energy on, and you're this and that, and you're ready to do it. Only call to family, or only call first contact 2 Pokemon, because you have the Audino in hand, and you want Audino to be one of them. So, only call 2. You don't need to have all of these, like, leave the other 2 in your deck. You would rather have them in your deck than in your hand. You don't need, I mean, I guess it doesn't make the biggest of a difference, but if you do ever get a Lily, which is the one card that I like to think about, and you want to try and draw 6, worst case scenario, I like to draw 6 with, you know, having most availability. So I would keep the Pokemon in my deck if I have the chance. So yeah, we've seen a lot of this is actually like the point of the video when it's actually after he does the first contact, when I see what he chooses, that I'm like, oh no, we need to you know, we need to do a whole thing about this. So I like that he went with the Inkay. That was good, because we have the Mysterious Treasure. I don't like that he went with the Necrozma. Like, Ozzy, I gotta ask him, man, why'd you bench another Necrozma? Because I did tell you specifically, you only want to play Necrozma once you have special energy. So you already went and played 1, and you don't have any special energy, so you don't need the 2. Like, we're talking about, like, especially talking about bench space here, your ideal, this is a great time to talk about this, your ideal board, you know, say early game, assuming you're not going to have the special energy, you want to have out, say, a Tauros for early attacking, Audino for drawing cards and going between KOs. You want to have a Gumshoes on the bench ready for, I'm sorry, a Young Goose ready for if a Gumshoes comes out. You want to have a type Null on the bench ready for if a Silvally comes out. And then maybe another Inkay. And then from that point, that's 5. And then you can leave the other spot open, if possible, to go with the flow. Say you get 2 Silvally in your hand. Then you're going to want 2 type Null, and you have no weakness guard energy. Say you're going to have 2 weakness guard energy in your hand, then you want the 2 Necrozma. But in this exact instance, the Necrozma is completely useless, especially because now you filled up your space and you can't put Audino down. So big mistakes overall, but it's all good, we're still learning. I'm only being this harsh because Ozzy was like, Give it to me rough, man. I gotta learn. So, and also, I didn't even mention, okay? I didn't even mention. Let's go back. Double massive mistake here. I'm sorry, Assay. I gotta crush you for this one here. So, we got all this in play. All this right now. I've already said, like, I don't really like the play. Now check this real quick. We do the bug catcher. So let's just think real quick, folks. Let's think real quick. You've got the Pokemon fan club. You've got your next turn set up. So you've got the 2 basics that are coming out. Why are you using first contact when you have an attack that's going to put 40 HP damage on a Pokemon with 60? Okay, Mew is weak to Psychic. He's got 60 HP, and it's his only Pokemon in play. He had a slow start. He already won his first turn. He took his first turn. This Pokemon's got evolution, or this deck's got evolution Pokemon. He put none of them out there, so he's had a slow start. No one in Theme Deck, and I mean no one, leads with 1 Pokemon into their first turn and then ends their first turn with 1 Pokemon willingly. It just doesn't happen. So you can put yourself in a situation where you're 20 HP away from a win on your second turn, yet you go for first contact. That's got to be the biggest blunder so far. That one, it's went way, like, I don't know if you didn't see it or this or that, but that is a massive mistake. So take that away more than any of, like, I should have led with that. I can't believe, because I'm still thinking about filling up my bench and getting it all out there, but that was a huge error. You could have been well on your way to winning this game in 2, 3, 4 turns, but now you didn't attack. Now you left yourself exposed. Now your Pokemon is weak to his Pokemon. Now, anyway, let's see what our opponent does. He puts down a bench fighting type Pokemon, and now it's going to be a good time to mention, and I haven't really done this a lot in my life, and I got to think about this a little bit more, like maybe I can optimize this deck a little bit more myself. This deck has the biggest weakness of this deck, obviously I've talked about this before, is we have a lot of fighting type Pokemon weaknesses. So our Silvally, our Gumshoos, and our Tauros, and our Audino, all weak to fighting type. We play Special Energy, which is a weakness guard energy. So, worst case scenario, desperation scenario, of course the weakness guard we're going to want to put on Necrozma, almost always get that 60 HP buff. But, say you're in a situation where you're going to get KO'd by this weaker Pokemon and you really can't take the KO right then and there, consider using the weakness guard energy for defense, not necessarily offense. You can put it on a Silvally, you can put it on a Tauros, you can put it on a Gumshoos, and not get KO'd because you will then remove your fighting weakness. So I actually never really considered that angle before. My mind always went to it, put it on the Necrozma, don't have the psychic weakness, and go from there. But it is a choice that we could put it on any other Pokemon and not have our fighting weakness as well. So that's just something that me and you both consider going forward. That's something that I have to just think about a little bit more because I never really considered it. I'm gonna have to now think of some situations where maybe I would want to use the weakness guard energy for a different Pokemon, and that could just, even considering that option, that makes this deck stronger. So, beautiful top deck. Ooh, girl, that's what we call a top deck, when you just pull from the top and you get something really nice. So we got the Silvally off the top deck. We've got the let's see, we can't use Audino, so we can't draw a card. We can't switch into Audino, draw a card. That would have been one of my plays. We got the switch card, we got the Audino, and I want to be drawing cards. So right now, from this exact situation, because what I like to do is talk about what we could have done better up until this point, and then scrap all that, and then go from now this point, what can we do perfectly from this exact situation. So our turn, we haven't moved yet. I haven't seen what he does at this point at all, so I'm going to go in biased. What is the optimal play from my perspective right now? So obviously you want to... Do you want to obviously evolve Silvally into type Null? You don't, because it's a nice, kind of, let's call it gotcha card. So the throw that's on the bench, I think it does like 80 damage for 2 energy. So that's a tough cookie. That is a tough cookie indeed, because of its, let's see. Oh, got it. Oof, I got a really good combo right here. That's a tough play because I'm gonna say throw can knock out if we put Silvally out with 1 hit. So we're not gonna do that. Here's the play. Oh, this is actually a great play. Okay, this is beautiful. We're gonna attach energy to for turn to Necrozma. We are going to Mysterious Treasure away our other energy for Malamar. We are going to then use Malamar's ability to attach energy to the Necrozma that we attached the first one to. 2 energy, barrier attack. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. Ozzy, I hope you think of this play, because if you think of this play right here, you can have this game 1 and 2, 3 more turns. So I'm just gonna flip. I'm a betting man, Ozzy. I'm betting you don't see this play, and I'm sorry that I'm betting that way. But this deck is a little complex to play. So if you see this play, bro, I'm gonna be super proud of you. And if not, I'm not gonna hold it against you, because this is like a level 2-3 play that is harder to see. So keep this in mind. Necrozma is a psychic type. We're gonna knock out this Mew in 1 turn. So let me run through the play again. Mysterious Treasure, the 1 energy away. Attach the 2nd energy to Necrozma. With Mysterious Treasure, we get Malamar. Attach the 2nd energy to Necrozma. We are going to retreat our Mesprit with 30 HP damage on it. It's tanked 1 hit. That's all it can hit. That's all it can do. So even then, this Mew can use damage counters to attack Pokemon. I think it can do them on the bench too. So that can get knocked out from any point in time if you leave this Mew up, or if he has another Mew. So what you can do then, you get the 2 energy on your Necrozma. That 30 damage that you do will double to 60 because of the weakness. It will knock out this Mew, and you got the barrier attack damage reduction for next turn 30. Boom! That's a killer combo. In addition to that, all you need from this point forward is 1 more energy to hit for 100. And how can we get that already? We already have that set up. This is why we're not using our switch card, by the way. This is why we're retreating and not switching, because check this. This is a level 4-5 play now. When you retreat, you're going to put that energy into your discard. We have no energy in our discard at this point. So we are going to utilize our discarded energy from this turn off of the Mysterious Treasure to get Necrozma 2. Then next turn we will have 1. You can only attach with Malamar to the bench Pokemon. What you can then do is retreat. Okay. You would need another energy. What I was thinking is you could switch Necrozma from the active to the bench, use Malamar's ability, and then retreat whatever you have in the active back into Necrozma, but you would need an energy on that Pokemon to do that, or a floater like an Audino with the U-turn board. So if you say put Tauros in the active and you had the U-turn board, or if you did manage to get another energy, you could do that play. Without that, you would only be able to barrier attack next turn unless we can draw it into another card. So that's tough. That's another reason why we would have really wanted to have that Audino in the active. But alright, so we can't quite do that. But we can guarantee get that. We can guarantee get the Mew knocked out and have the barrier attack up for next turn. We just have to hope a little bit to get another energy to be able to actually hit for that 100 the turn after that. So let's see what Ozzy goes for. Energy on 1 Necrozma. Okay. Does he see the play? If you see the play, Ozzy, I'll be so proud of you. I'll be so proud of you. Audino. Oh my god, no, bro! No, not the Audino. Of all the cards, too, man, you could have done the Pokemon Fan Club. Not the Audino. Oh, Ozzy. Because now when one of your Pokemon gets knocked out, you're not going to have the Audino to use as your floater, my man. Oh. Tisk. Okay, it's all good, baby. It's all good. Ozzy, you could have had it. You could have had the Mew knocked out. You could have had the whole bit. He's going to be kicking himself when he sees this, bro. Oh, I feel bad now. But hey, that's how you learn, right? That's how you learn. Because if you didn't do this right now, then you probably never would have... Not never, but I'm saying, like, if you don't record the footage, then you never would have seen this play. You never would have seen this availability. If you just play this one random game and then move on with life, and it's not recorded, you don't send it to me, none of that, then you don't learn, you know? So this is a good learning opportunity. So that's the capture energy. Okay, so he put the energy down on throw, and he was able to grab a basic Pokemon. He's probably checking that, seeing what just happened. He's going to get a Passimian out. He flipped tails on his bug catcher. Now he's got a... look at what he was able to do now. I mean, not now, because he would have been able to get pretty much all that anyway, but he would have had to do that being in the active. Now he gets to knock out your Pokemon. He takes the first prize card. Yeah, this is a tough one right here. Alright, hopefully you can bring this one back, Ozzy. Hopefully you can bring this one back, baby. Yeah, that's okay, I guess. Put it on the Savali. No, why are you putting it on this? Bro, you gotta explain this to me then. Like, I need you to explain, like, hit me up in Discord. Like, you need to give me the logic, or just tell me in the comments below. Why did you put this energy on the Necrozma? You don't have special energy yet. So why are you trying to... We've gone over this. This is something we've definitely talked about. Necrozma is not the play until you got the special energy going. What is this guy doing? He's giving up the what? He gave up the Passimian? Why is he giving up the Passimian when you got the... Is Throw weak to Psychic? I don't remember if Throw is weak to Psychic or Grass type. So that could be why he doesn't want to give up the, the Throw. So, alright, so knock this guy out, bro. Baby, why are you putting the U-turn board on Necrozma now? You want to hold that U-turn board until you need it. He could have Pokemon fan clubbed into an Audino, put the U-turn board on the Audino. So you're just not thinking right now, Ozzy. You're kind of playing a little too fast. If I can see how quickly your cursor's moving. So your cursor's moving a little, like that turn was boom. You didn't think about nothing, man. You just kind of attacked. You just kind of went for it. You were like, oh, I can get a KO. Let me get that KO. All right, so yep, this Pokemon is weak to Psychic, so it will get knocked out by one attack. So it looks like we're in a pretty good position, honestly. So truth be told, both players are messing up a little bit here. That our opponent could have definitely thrown out something other than Passimian that would have just got knocked out. Probably could have put out the I would say, I'm not sure what it's going with that little I guess just evolving the Seismitoad. Okay, so that's what it's going for with that. Maybe it had to put out the Passimian to die. I'm not 100% sure, I guess, but either way, I hope we win this game. I would like to... Alright, it's looking pretty good right now, because all you gotta do is hit it for regular. So, Pokemon Fan Club to... No, I guess it doesn't matter now. I was gonna say the Audino would be nice to get out there, but it really don't matter when we already wasted the U-turn board. I would have been trying to power up Silval. Like, I know we have a weakness to fighting type, so that's probably what you're thinking, but you hit for 120 though. You're gonna want that big 120 hit at some point. So, and not every Pokemon this guy's got is weak to Psychic. Like if you look at the Seismitoad, it's weak to Grass. So even though we are weak to fighting, we're only gonna be able to get out that 100. Like, what would you rather get out, that 100 or that 120? So I'd rather get out that 120, only be able to have to tap it for maybe 60 or something. Like sometimes your Pokemon's just gonna have to die. That's okay. That is okay. So I would have definitely gone for the because you already have the one Necrozma in play. So go for the Savali. Go for the Savali next time. Oh yeah, this guy's done. This guy's done. You don't have to bench anything. I see you like thinking about benching. You don't have to bench nothing because you don't have the evolution for nothing yet. So you don't have to even worry about it. Now, brother. You don't have any energy left, man. How are you gonna get more energy? How are you gonna get more energy? So now if you get your Necrozma knocked out, now you cannot guarantee to hit your second Necrozma, which you've already, I would say, inadvertently powered up the wrong Pokemon, and now you can't even attack with it fully powered. So if you're gonna go the Necrozma route, you gotta commit to the Necrozma route. So little mistakes compounding larger mistakes, but that's okay. We still may win this game. Winning is not the important part. Playing perfectly is the important part, in my opinion. Your goal is to play... You don't have to attach energy per turn, by the way. You do not have to attach it. Because now if your Necrozma gets knocked out, you are going to have to make a decision without being able to attach guaranteed. Whereas if you held the energy, you could have put out something different, you could have stalled, you could have done numerous other things, but now you are committed to the 2 and 2. You do not need to attach per turn, especially when it's your last energy. It's a resource. You are burning a resource without a specific plan. That's the luckiest top card I've ever seen in my life. Luckiest top deck I've ever seen in my life. I'm happy you got it, but you got bailed out by that one, my man. You powered up the wrong Pokemon. Hey, good attack right there. Smart man. Smart man. I'm not sure. Wait. Hold on. I missed something. How did I have 130 on it? Did you do Barrier Attack twice in a row? What the hell? What in the hell? Okay, what is going on here? I missed this. Why did you Barrier Attack instead of just knocking it out? Ozzy, what's going on, my man? What's going on? Why did you give him an extra turn? I didn't even see that at first. To try to go for the barrier attack next after that, I guess kind of meh. I don't like it. Take the prize card, man. You'll be up 2 prize cards to 5. Do not like it. Yeah. I wouldn't, because you never know when your opponent has a switch card. You never know what your opponent's got. Like, if he switches that out with the 130 HP, you got a big old egg on your face, my man. So, very lucky here that this didn't occur for you. Very lucky that you were able to pull off the 30 barrier attack and then, have the 30 defense now. So that was just a lucky top deck and a lucky situation that he didn't have that all going. So now hopefully the obvious thing is to Pokemon Fan Club well, I would say to get an Inkay, but you don't have any energy in the discard, so it's really not that big of a thing. And now you got the guaranteed win. Bring up Necrozma. Yes. Whew. Whew. Thank God. Bring up Necrozma. Brother, why are you putting the U-turn board on Necrozma? Stop it. Stop it. Pokemon Fan Club. Audino. U-turn board on Audino. At no point did we say, hey, you want to automatically put U-turn board on Necrozma. I feel like you just can't not attach things to this Pokemon. You're like, I love it. Let's just keep putting energy on it. Let's just keep putting things on Necrozma. It's the Necrozma deck. It has options, my man. It has options. So I'm going to give this performance a 5 out of 10. I've seen a lot worse, my man. I've seen a lot worse. But you got room to grow, which is great. You got the 1 energy here. You're going to get the dub. That's awesome. I'm happy to see that. Dubs are good confidence builders. You definitely made some good plays. He had that Titanizer. What if he used that Titanizer to switch out his, the Seismitoad with 130 HP? Ooh, you would have felt real dumb after that, I bet. So never, ever, ever give him a chance to do that again. Ever. You got bailed out and you didn't get punished. So that's a double benefit right there. I would be very thankful that you missed all of those early game plays and still pulled out the dub. That is very, very lucky, my man. So, well played. I will give you the well played because you clicked all the buttons properly to win the game against the guest player. I think that means that like either they're brand new or this or that. I'm not really sure. But yeah, you're gonna want to step it up a little bit. I like what I see in some regard, but hopefully you watch this. And we'll keep doing this. Send me some more. Send me 2, 3, 4, 5 more, and I will rip them all apart, my man. We will get it going. So yeah, that was really fun. I'm really glad that you sent me this over. I'm really glad that I was able to break down my favorite themed deck. And yeah, this is great. I hope that you learned a lot, my man, and I hope that you all learned a lot about playing theme deck and just kind of Pokemon in general. Theme deck is a little bit more of its own specific format because it moves at such a specific pace. Not slow, but more methodical. Because you are able to do less things per turn on average, you're able to churn through your deck at, less turns per average. In theme, it will be a longer game, which I love. I think it's great. You have to strategize for longer. So, awesome stuff. Folks have any questions? Let me know. If you folks haven't, I guess I don't have any giveaways right now. They're all kind of ending right now today, this and that. By the time you see this, will probably all be gone. But keep your eyes peeled because I'm going to be doing all my new giveaways for June. They'll be up within the next, few days. And yeah, I am so thankful that you all stuck around here, watch this. I appreciate you all. I love you all so much. And I'll see you on the next one.